Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a great day. In today's video, I wanted to do a purple ombre. I hope you guys enjoy this video. If you do, please give it a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button so you can see more of my videos. Anything I use will be listed down in the description box below. If you'd like to see how I do this, then keep on watching. To start this look off, I'm going to start with the Morphe and James Charles palette, and I'm going to use the shade Code James, which is kind of like an orangey shade. Also, I want to mention that somebody commented on my recent video that I posted and said they had some trouble replicating the look because they don't know what shade I'm really using, because maybe they don't have the same palette as I do. So what I'm going to start doing is taking a picture of the pans in the palette, and then I'll post it somewhere around me. That way you can see the general shade color. Even if you don't have the same palette, you can use the similar color. I always list what I'm using down below, so I'll start listing the shade names that I'm using as well. That way, for any reason, if I'm not posting a picture of the color or anything, then you can look it up on Google and see what it looks like as well. The first shade I'm going to use is Code James, and I'm just going to use this as a transition shade. And the brush I'm using is just a small blending brush. And I'm just using this shade to give that crease just a little bit of color, because I'm going to be doing a cut crease today. And I want the main focus to be on that cut crease, not necessarily the color around it. So that's why I'm using a really light shade. The concealer I'm going to use is a white concealer. It is the Jeffree Star Cosmetics Magic Concealer, and it's in the shade C0. And I'm using this because I want to have a really white base. That way the color I'm using on my eyelid will pop out more. The brush I'm using is a Morphe M421 brush. And I'm going to use this concealer to really map out where I want this next color to be at. And while I'm doing this, if you've watched maybe 2 or 3 videos ago, I mentioned that I got chickens recently. So I wanted to update you guys on my chickens. And I have 2 chicks as well. My chickens have been free ranging for about 2 or 3 weeks now. And I think they're starting to get used to me and my husband. Because now, because they know I'm the person that feeds them, they'll run up to me every time I walk outside. Even though I don't always feed them when I go outside, I do give them treats. They like mealworms, and so sometimes I do give them treats and stuff when I go outside. But I don't give them stuff all the time. But I don't know if you've ever seen a chicken run, but it's one of the funniest things to see running towards you, because I don't even know. I don't know what makes it so funny, but if you've never seen one running, you should look it up and see what it looks like, because it's one of the funniest things I've ever seen. We've also named them all, so now they all have a name. I have 6 chickens. I don't think I mentioned that in the last video, but I have 6 chickens, and then I have 2 chicks. But there's one that's definitely my favorite, and she's an all red chicken, and I think we've come to the conclusion that her name is McChicken, and my husband came up with that. The reason she's McChicken is because she's one of the most brave. She's actually the first one that's come up to me and taken food out of my hand, because I'm trying to get them used to my hands. So I've tried to feed them out of my hands, and the other ones won't do it, but that one was the first one to do it. So now she's always ready for food, and she actually gets more because I'm trying to get them to come to me. And she's the only one that will, so she's the one getting most of the food. But she's also the first one that comes running, and it's so funny. The first shade I'm going to use is a lavender shade, and I'm using the Ultimate Shadow Palette by NYX. The brush I'm using is a 213 brush, and I'm just going to pack this on this inner side. And right now all I'm doing is I'm just patting. I'm not brushing, because I just want to get this color in there as dark as I can, if that's the right kind of wording. So anyways, about the chickens, something else that they do that I also think is super funny is, so because I'm trying to get them used to my hands, I'll put a handful of their food and just hold it out to them, and 3 or 4, I think all of them have done it now, but there's a consistent 3 or 4 out of them that are super comfortable doing it now, as long as I don't move or try to grab them. They will eat out of my hand, And what's funny about it is if there's like one chicken eating out of my hand, like it just kind of tickles because they're like pecking at my palm and my fingers and stuff. And sometimes they'll grab my fingers and like pinch, but it doesn't hurt or anything. But like, so there's one, and then when another chicken like sticks their head in to try and eat some at the same time, then they kind of get a little bit more aggressive. And like you can feel their pecs get a little bit harder because they're trying to eat it faster than the other one. And there's a third one that sticks their head in and starts eating it. It like almost hurts because they're like grabbing as fast as they can to try and eat more than like the other ones. I'm gonna blend this out on this edge because I'm gonna put a darker shade in this middle because I want it to be an ombre purple. And this will kind of taper that color out. The next shade I'm gonna use is a slightly darker purple. And this is going to be in the Morphe and James Charles palette, and it's called Single. And I'm just using the same brush. That way there's leftover product and it'll kind of blend all the way through. Now this color I'm just going to pack in right into the center because I don't want to mess with the other shade yet. And then I'm going to start packing it the same way that I packed the other one. I'm just going to start placing it. So now I wanted to tell you about my chicks, and they are officially 3 weeks old today. I hatched them. Well, I didn't hatch them, but like one of my hens technically hatched them. They've been sitting on them for like 3 or 4 weeks when I got them. So I've been raising them inside in like their own, like it's a storage container is what I've been using as their like brooder. But I've been raising them inside, and now they are like big enough that they can fly out of the container. And we have them in our basement. Since they're able to get out of the container, they've been jumping out of it and walking around my basement by themselves. And like our basement has a lot of storage right now because we are still halfway moving into the house. And so they like can jump on everything, and they've been pooping everywhere. And finally, we got the chicken coop ready to go. Because there's 2 sides to the chicken coop, so I'm able to have my adult chickens on one side and then the chicks on the other. There's like a dog like sized hole in between the 2 sides so they can walk through, but we put chicken wire there so they can't like meet really, but they can see each other. We finally were able to move them outside yesterday, and I've been so nervous about them because they're still little. They're not like itty bitty like they were the first day because they grow pretty quickly, but they're still smaller than the other chickens, so I'm just a little worried about them. Now that I have that next shade on, I'm just gonna use what's left over on the brush and start blending that line from the lavender to the sister shade. The next shade I'm going to use is from the Morphe and James Charles palette again, and it's called Escape. And again, I'm using the same brush, and I'm just going to pack this in on this outer part. Currently, I have my chickens locked up in their coop right now because they've been getting into our garden, and they were digging up my peppers and my cucumbers, and I only have 1 cucumber plant left, and I'm trying to keep it alive. So right now we're trying to build a fence to keep them out. And I feel so bad because I don't like keeping them locked up because they like walking around and like free ranging and like eating bugs and stuff, and it kind of helps with their diet. And they're able to they take dirt baths is what they're called, and they can't do that right now because they can't do it in the coop. But I'm so worried about my garden, and we're trying to fix that fence, and we ran out of fencing, so I'm just having to keep them locked up for like a couple days until we can get that fixed. Now that I have that final shade on there, I'm going to go back over the 2 shades in the middle like I did with the first 2 shades and just kind of blur that line a little bit. And I'm just using what's left over on the brush to do that. I'm not adding any new product yet. So now that I'm happy with the way this looks, I'm going to take a wipe and I'm going to clean up that outer side to sharpen it up a little bit more. Now that I've cleaned this side off and I like the way it looks, I'm going to do the same thing on the other side and finish my face, and then I'll be back to finish the makeup look. I'm back. For my lower lash line, I'm going to use the shade Single on a 213 brush again, and I'm just using this color by itself because I felt like if I used all of the colors, it wouldn't really make any sense. So I'm just going to use this middle shade, and I'm just going to go underneath to give myself some color. I do think it needs some dark purple right here. So I'm going to go into that escape shade very lightly and use that to connect to the top on that outer side. Then I'm going to just kind of blend it up. I think that's definitely better. And whenever I do this eye, I will do this to this eye, so I'm just going to do it off camera though. For mascara, I'm going to use the Benefit mascara. They're real. I also suck at putting on mascara, even though I've been putting on mascara way before I actually started doing eyeshadow. So I'm not really for sure why I suck so bad at it. You'd think with more practice I'd be better at it, but I'm not. I also have lash extensions, so working around those takes a little bit of work. So I can't always get on this outer side because of them. So I feel like that also adds to my issues with putting mascara on. Or, you know, just suck at it. That's also an option. Could just be blaming things that aren't actually affecting me. For highlighter, I'm actually going to use a different palette, and this is going to be the Venus 3 by Lime Crime, and I'm going to be using, I'm just going to show you this color because I think it'll show up just fine on camera. It's this like shimmery, oh, I forgot the shade name. It's this shimmery shade, and it's called Beam, and it's just really just like purple glitter, basically. I'm just using a small blending brush, and I'm going to use this on my inner corner to kind of give that inner corner some shimmer. I'm also going to use this on my brow bone as well, but it's just like a really subtle purple that I think will like complement the eyeshadow. I'm also just going to take this brush as well and just use it for my cheekbone. Also, when I do looks like this, I just really like to stay on the trend that I'm doing. So like for this look, I'm doing purple, obviously. So I'd like to try and match the highlighter with the shade that I'm using. I think I packed it on too much on this side, but it shows a lot. So that might be a little too much purple on this side, but it's already there, so it'll be fine. But I really just like to stay on trend with what I'm using all around, especially when it comes to highlighter, because highlighter is my favorite part. For my nose and lip highlighter, I'm going to use the Nikkie Tutorials Trio, which I use this a lot, so I'm sorry, but it's like my favorite one. And I'm going to use Glazed Donut. And this is just like a white, like silver, like really basic highlighter. And I think it just works perfectly on the bridge of my nose. Because I feel like if I used the purple that I used on the rest of my face, it would be too much, and I just don't want to do that because I think it'll overdo it, and I don't want to overdo the purple because I don't want it all over my face. I'm going to use a highlighter brush for this, so I'm using the 510 brush, and the brush I used for my nose was a 213 brush. I use that like a lot. I don't know why. It's just like one of my favorite brushes. So I'm going to use this above my lip and on my chin. For some people, I'm sure I use too much highlighter for you. But like I said, the highlighter is my favorite part, so I really just think it completes the look, and I just like being really, really glowy. And if that's not your vibe, then like that's completely okay, but I like it, so I think it just finishes the look. When for some people, I'm sure it's too much. But I just don't feel like my makeup is complete until I put highlighter on. Before I put lipstick on, I'm going to use the e.l.f. Dewy Coconut Setting Mist to set everything. For lip liner, I'm going to use the NYX Lip Liner Crown in the shade Nude Pink. And I'm going to be using this as the main color and then using a gloss over top of everything. For lip gloss, I'm going to use the gloss by Jeffree Star Cosmetics, and this is in the shade Control Freak. And I'm just going to put this over top of the pink and kind of blend out what I've already put on there. So that is the completed look. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I like hearing y'all's feedback, so please comment down below with anything you'd like to tell me or any future videos you'd like to see. Until next time, bye.